Giving me an up-close and personal view. And welcome back to the JoAnne Powell Show. I am JoAnne. We are coming to you from the World Center of Broadcast Media, WCOBM.com Hollywood. And for those who are joining us on the Go Harrison Show, I'd like to welcome you as well. We are focusing on 1 year ago this month. We had the country's worst mass shooting. It's known as the San Bernardino Massacre. 14 people lost their lives. 22 were wounded. This month we have been thinking of those who lost loved ones and those who were a part of this traumatic experience. Joining me now to talk about what's happened, Pastor Gerald Thompson. You were one of the ministers who was called in, kind of like the first responders ministers,
Yes.
helping the families in need. And also we have Dr. Alley, who is an entertainment and mental health expert. Because we're also going to talk a little bit about post-traumatic stress disorder. But let's finish your story. You were telling us a little bit about what it was like. You were with the families of those who either the victims and some of the workers that were there. And we left off when, as the day and the evening progressed, there were fewer people that were still there. And come to find out, those that were still there were the family members of those who lost their lives.
Correct.
So how did you deal with that as, a man of faith there to help those? And it was traumatic for you as well, being a part of this experience.
Yeah, definitely. This probably, like I said, probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And so we were able, myself and other pastors, like there were only 15 or 16 individuals there, 14 to be exact. And so myself and other pastors took them to another room and privately spoke with them, prayed with them, walked them through everything, let them know that if there's anything that they need, we'll be there for them, and so on and so forth. I guess what was most traumatic is just that waiting time, that waiting period, because there were hundreds of people, then it was 50 people, then it were 25 people, then it was these last people there. And so to see the reaction on their face, because it was as if they knew it as well, they were just holding on to some hope that no, it couldn't be, maybe they got him, maybe there was a mistake. And so we walked them through that through that process.
Okay. And I know even now that experience is very vivid to you.
Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. And every time I have conversations about it, I always go to that moment of when we had to speak to those people, because I spoke to all the people, everyone that was there, in terms of employees, those that were the police officers, some media. I spoke to everyone, but to speak to those individuals who they were family members of the victims. Yeah, it was just always will forever be in my mind. In fact, the individual, I have not reached out to him recently, but I am going to give him a call and just see how he's doing.
Okay. Yeah. Now, one of the things that people who go through an experience like that, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. And I know there are people who have gone through this experience to this day. They do not feel comfortable talking about what they experienced, even if they were not shot. They were just there on site, or those that were injured. It's just something that it's been a year and they are not a lot better. Why is that? Or what can people do?
Well, one of the best treatments for PTSD is talk therapy. That is one of the disorders that has gotten a lot of research, especially over the past 5 or 6 years, with a lot of our vets coming back from war. Because PTSD is a disorder that we typically see a lot in people who live in violent areas, or people who have been at war, or things like that. And so there's been a ton of research, and there's a lot of really effective talk therapy treatments for PTSD. And one of the first things your clinician's going to have you do is talk about the trauma.
Right.
So it's one of the first things you're going to do, because trauma is this thing that's like an old 1970s monster in those television shows, right? Where you never really see it because you constantly avoid. You see a shadow, you see an arm, you see the effect of it. But then the minute that you actually look at the monster, It's really just a guy in a horrible suit with wires holding it up. And that's what trauma is.
Okay.
Trauma is a memory. It's a ghost. It's a vestige of a horrible moment that sticks in our memory, because the way that the human brain has evolved is to avoid things that will hurt us. And so your amygdala imprints these negative memories in your mind, so you'll never get in a situation like that again and hopefully be able to avoid it. But what it actually ends up doing is causing us to kind of be stuck in reliving these traumatic moments over and over and over again. Like when you were talking about how you can't forget it. It's almost as if it happened 10 days ago. You know, it could have been yesterday, but it was actually a year ago. And that's your brain's way of trying to protect you. What it actually ends up doing is it hurts us because it makes us want to avoid those thoughts. And then sometimes the memories can become kind of unreal, like it was a dream. That's called derealization, where and for some people who've been traumatized over and over again, their life can begin to feel a little dreamy. It's hard for them to feel like things are really happening, and that's called depersonalization. And so these are very common symptoms of PTSD, and a lot of times we assume that PTSD only happens to people who were directly involved, you know, somebody who was injured or someone who witnessed the injury. But first responders and people like therapists, pastors, firefighters, police officers, there's a high level of trauma in those populations. And those of us who are in the kind of the secondary wave, we tend to not get care for it. Because we're like, I'm fine. I just heard about it, you know. Yeah. But it traumatizes us just the same, because the human brain, you know, like in the Bible, so as a man thinketh, also is he. If you imagine something, if you think about something, you've basically done it. Yeah. Which is why, you know, Kobe Bryant visualizes shooting baskets all day, because your brain doesn't know the difference between real and fake, real and imaginary. And so that's why for those of us who hear about it, it can be almost as traumatizing as if we had gone through it ourselves.
It can take you back to that moment, you know, when you are going through something. So people who are dealing with this, whether, I know, because you think of the victims who, you know, suffered, you know, being shot, that is not only physical, but it's a mental, psychological issue. But there are those family members, or like, you know, the pastors or others that were connected, or law enforcement. On my piece that we showed the last segment, there was a police officer who was helping with the getting people out, and he remembers it vividly. He says he talks about it every day, all the time, because it's such a part of his life at this point. What is a way for people to deal with this in terms of getting help? We're going to have to, I see that we're out of time. When we come back, we're going to be talking a little bit more about post-traumatic stress disorder, because I think it's important for people going through this to actually get help. And that's something we'll talk about, and also dealing with the holiday blues, which is what we're in that time of year. You're watching the JoAnne Powell Show. We will be right back.
If you are an adult that began college and has not finished your college degree, let me put it to you straight. If your lifestyle and your standard of living is not becoming to you, then you should be coming to us, Oakwood University Elite Program. We are the fast, flexible adult degree completion program for the busy adult, like you.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098. It's time to leap.
For years, people have trusted McKay's Family Mortuary. We're part of your community, and we'll take care of the details. We offer a variety of memorial services, including sea scattering and cremation. According to the Federal Trade Commission, the average funeral cost is over $9,000. We have complete funeral chapel service starting at only $31.25, casket included. Direct cremation starting at only $9.95. Visit one of our 5 locations and meet our caring and diverse staff. McKay Family Mortuary. Let us be the shoulder to lean on.
Thanks to Oakwood University and the LEAP program, I have now a college degree. So to the Spanish-speaking members of this community who feel that the LEAP program is something you should consider, I would say, ánimo a la universidad. Considere el programa LEAP de Oakwood University.
Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.
Seize the Day Scuba for your best scuba experience above and below the sea. You'll find friendly staff, experienced PADI certified instructors, and state-of-the-art scuba equipment and gear. Join our dive club and we'll help you plan memorable scuba excursions. Immerse yourself. Seize the Day Scuba, serving Southern California. Call 949-220-0500 to create your scuba experience.
When I first started into the program, yes, I had doubts. I was really impressed with Oakwood University, with the faculty and the staff and the student body. It was a really good experience, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who was thinking about going back and finishing their degree.
Register today. Go to oakwoodleap.com or call 256-726-7098.